Hey digital warrior, every man has faced it. That silent pull of laziness whispering to stay in bed a little longer. That urge to put off what matters for one more hour, one more day, one more excuse. But deep down you know the truth. Each moment wasted is a piece of your life you will never get back. And if you let laziness win, you will trade your destiny for distraction. The Stoics faced storms of war, betrayal, exile, and even death. Yet they refused to bow to weakness. They believed discipline was not punishment but freedom. They saw laziness as the thief of greatness. And they forged iron willpower by training their minds to obey reason, not comfort. Marcus Aurelius rose each morning reminding himself that he was born to work as a human being, not to waste away in idleness. Seneca warned that it is not that life is short but that we waste so much of it. Epictetus declared that no man is free who is not master of himself. These were not empty words. They were weapons forged in the fire of hardship. And they can become your weapons too. In this journey we will walk through 9 Stoic rules to kill laziness forever. Rules that will sharpen your discipline, harden your spirit, and make your will unbreakable. Each rule is practically timeless and tested by some of the strongest minds in history. By the end of this path you will not only crush procrastination and weakness but also rise as the master of your own life. Stay with me. This is not motivation. This is war. The silent war against laziness. And today you begin to win. Rule number 1. Master your morning. The Stoics believe that how you begin your day determines how you live your day. Marcus Aurelius often wrote in his meditations that when the sun rises and sleep still clings to the body, you must remind yourself that you were born for duty, not idleness. He asked a sharp question. Was he born to lie warm under blankets, or was he born to rise and fulfill the work of a human being? Every morning you face the same battle. Comfort whispers stay longer. Laziness whispers begin later. But later often never becomes. The day slips away and your willpower weakens. You have lost before the day even starts. The Stoics knew that mornings are sacred. They are the first battlefield. Win it and you carry victory into every hour that follows. Lose it and weakness rules over you. So how do you master your morning? First, build a ritual. Marcus began his day by writing reminders to himself. He reminded himself that people might be selfish or cruel, but he could remain steady. He reminded himself that life is short and wasting it was unthinkable. You can do the same. As soon as you rise, tell yourself, I rise for purpose. I rise for strength. I rise to honor the gift of another day. Second, move the body. Seneca taught that the mind and body are linked. A sluggish body creates a sluggish spirit. Do not remain still after waking. Stretch deeply. Breathe strongly. Step into cold water. Walk outside. It does not matter what you choose as long as it shakes off weakness and signals to your mind that the day has begun. When the body moves, the mind follows. Third, guard your focus. The Stoics did not fill their mornings with gossip. They began with thought and clarity. Today our greatest trap is the glowing screen that pulls us into endless distraction before the day even starts. If you want to kill laziness, you must banish that noise from your morning. Replace it with reflection. Read a short passage of philosophy. Write a few lines in a journal. Or sit in silence with your breath. These small acts sharpen clarity before the world begins to pull at you. Fourth, link mornings with meaningful action. Choose one task of value and begin it early. Marcus warned against losing the present moment. Do your work. Begin your training. Start your study. Take that first step with energy. The action itself is proof to your mind that laziness has no claim on you. One strong act at dawn builds momentum for the hours ahead. Remember, the greatest danger of laziness is not only the time lost but the identity it shapes. Each morning you stay in bed, you declare, I am weak, I obey comfort. Each morning you rise with purpose and you declare, I am disciplined and I am strong. These small choices are votes for the man you are becoming. Over time they create your destiny. Picture two men. One wakes late. He scrolls through distractions. He eats without thought. By the time he begins the day, half of it is gone and his spirit feels heavy. Laziness has defeated him. The other rises early. He speaks words of duty to himself. He moves his body. He begins with clarity. He acts before distraction sets in. The day bends to his strength. Which one will you be? The Stoics understood that greatness is not built in rare moments but in repeated rituals. Morning after morning they sharpened their will. If emperors and exiled philosophers could master their dawns while carrying heavy burdens, then surely you can master yours in the quiet space of your own life. Here is your practice. Tonight, prepare for tomorrow. Place your phone far from your bed. Lay out your journal or book. Prepare your clothes. Plan your first important task. When dawn comes, you will not stumble in confusion. You will know exactly what to do. And when the alarm sounds, do not negotiate. Do not delay. Rise. Step into your ritual. Move. Breathe. Write. Begin. In this way laziness is crushed before it can even breathe. Here is your affirmation. Speak it and carry it. I rise with strength. I master my mornings. I have mastered my life. Rule number 2. Expect resistance. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself of an uncomfortable truth. The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Why would the Emperor of Rome begin his day with such dark thoughts? Because he understood something essential. Life is resistance. People will test you. Circumstances will frustrate you. Plans will break. If you expect life to be smooth, you will collapse the moment it is not. Laziness thrives on that collapse. Discipline thrives when you expect resistance and prepare for it. Think of a soldier before battle. Does he expect silence and comfort? No. He expects arrows to fly and enemies to charge. He is not surprised when the fight comes because he has already prepared his mind for it. The Stoic warrior treated daily life the same way. If you wake expecting perfection, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. And disappointment feeds laziness. But if you expect resistance, nothing shakes you. You meet each challenge with calm readiness. Laziness whispers that life should be easy. Stoicism replies that life will never be easy, but it can always be endured. Seneca taught that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor strengthens the body. Just as muscle only grows under weight, willpower only grows under struggle. If you face no resistance, you remain soft. But if you expect it and accept it, you become unbreakable. So how do you practice this rule? Begin each morning with preparation. Say to yourself, I will face delays today. I will meet selfish words. I will see plans fall apart. But none of this will rob me of my discipline. This is not pessimism. It is armor. When the storm comes, you nod and say, I expected this. You are never caught off guard. Second, see ignorance instead of evil. Marcus wrote that people act from lack of wisdom, not from true malice. When someone insults you or disappoints you, do not burn in anger. Understand that they do not yet know better. Anger drains your willpower. Understanding preserves it. By expecting flaws and refusing to take them personally, you guard your strength. Third, lower your expectations. If you demand that every plan unfolds perfectly and that every person treats you fairly, you will drown in frustration. But if you expect imperfection, then you are not broken when it arrives. The late train, the rude word, the sudden problem all become reminders that this is how life works. You carry on without collapsing into laziness. Fourth, reframe every obstacle as training. Marcus wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Instead of asking why, I ask, what skill is this resistance building in me? Patience. Calm. Detachment. Every frustration becomes practice. Each delay becomes training. Instead of seeing resistance as your enemy, you see it as your instructor. Now imagine two men. One wakes expecting an easy day. The moment a problem appears, he curses. His energy drains. He delays his work. He blames others. Laziness spreads inside him. The second man wakes expecting struggle. When the insult comes, he remains steady. When the delay arrives, he adjusts calmly. When the problem appears, he treats it as training. His discipline sharpens. His willpower hardens. One man ends the day weaker. The other ends it stronger. This is the heart of Stoic discipline. Expectation shapes endurance. When you expect resistance, you are never shocked by it. And when you are not shocked, you stay calm. Laziness loses its grip because your mind is not broken by surprise. Take this reflection with you. Life owes you no smooth road. But every stone, every thorn, and every storm is a chance to grow sharper and steadier. The man who expects resistance cannot be broken. Rule number 3. Kill the comfort trap. The Stoics warn that the greatest enemy of discipline is not hardship but comfort. Hardship wakes the soul. Comfort lulls it to sleep. Comfort whispers that you deserve rest when you have not earned it. Comfort seduces you with warmth, softness, and ease while quietly stealing your strength. Seneca once wrote that it is not adversity but prosperity that tests the soul. For in adversity you are forced to fight, but in comfort you are tempted to decay. Laziness is born in the embrace of comfort. The soft bed, the endless distraction, the easy pleasure. At first it feels harmless. What is one more hour of rest? What is one more indulgence? But comfort is never satisfied. Each time you bow to it, you grow weaker. Each time you resist it, you grow stronger. The Stoics saw comfort not as a blessing but as a subtle trap. The man who seeks constant ease will never build iron willpower. To kill the comfort trap, you must begin with awareness. Notice where comfort controls you. Is it the temptation to stay in bed when you should rise? Is it the need to reach for entertainment before work is done? Is it the habit of choosing what is pleasant over what is necessary? Once you identify the places where comfort owns you, you can begin to break free. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to keep their spirits sharp. They fasted when food was available. They wore simple clothes when luxury was within reach. They chose silence when chatter was easier. Epictetus taught that if you want to grow strong, you must at times deny yourself what you crave. Not because denial is good in itself, but because it trains the mind to be master, not slave. Imagine your mind as a ruler and your body as a subject. If the subject commands the ruler, you live in weakness. If the ruler commands the subject, you live in strength. Each time you resist unnecessary comfort, you strengthen the ruler within. Each time you give in without thought, you hand over your crown. Practical steps can help. Begin small. Choose one comfort and practice restraint. Rise from bed the moment the alarm sounds. Do not debate. Do not bargain. Rise. When hunger stirs, do not rush to satisfy it instantly. Wait a short while and prove to yourself that you are not a slave to appetite. When distraction calls, place your device away and finish the task first. These small acts accumulate. Each is a strike against laziness and a victory for willpower. The comfort trap also appears in how we think. We prefer easy thoughts. We avoid reflection because it can be uncomfortable to face ourselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you must dwell on what is noble rather than what is easy. To kill laziness, you must also train the mind to endure discomfort. Journal when you would rather distract yourself. Reflect when you would rather forget. Discipline is forged not in avoiding discomfort but in embracing it. Picture two men again. One follows comfort wherever it leads. He sleeps late. He eats excessively. He distracts himself endlessly. His body grows sluggish and his mind clouded. Comfort has weakened him. The other resists comfort with strength. He rises when he does not feel like rising. He trains when it is easier to rest. He speaks truth when silence would be safer. His body is strong and his will sharper than steel. Who is truly free? The one enslaved by comfort or the one who has mastered it? The Stoics knew that comfort is fleeting but character is lasting. A man who pursues comfort gains nothing permanent. A man who trains discipline gains strength that cannot be taken from him. Seneca said that no man is more unhappy than the one who never faces adversity. For he never discovers what he is capable of. By stepping into discomfort you discover your true power. Here is your challenge. Each day choose one act of voluntary discomfort. Take a cold shower. Fast from a meal. Walk instead of drive. Speak the truth when silence would be easier. Each act is training. Each act chips away at laziness. Each act builds willpower. Over time these acts transform your character. You begin to crave growth more than comfort. You begin to choose strength over ease. At first it will feel like a loss. Comfort will call to you and your body will resist. But with practice you will feel something deeper than pleasure. You will feel pride. The pride of knowing that you are not ruled by your cravings. That you can endure what others cannot. That your will is stronger than your appetite for ease. Remember this. Comfort is temporary but weakness can last a lifetime. Discomfort is temporary but strength lasts forever. Do not let comfort steal the man you could become. The comfort trap is subtle but deadly. Kill it before it kills your discipline. Rule number 4. Turn duty into discipline. Marcus Aurelius once wrote these words to himself. At dawn when you wake unwillingly let this thought be present. I am rising to the work of a human being. He knew that the temptation to remain in bed would always exist. He knew the desire for ease would whisper each morning. Yet he reminded himself that life was not given for idleness. It was given for duty. And when you see duty clearly, laziness loses its grip. Laziness grows strongest when you measure life by feelings. I do not feel like rising. I do not feel like working. I do not feel like training. Feelings shift like the wind. If you let them rule you, then discipline is impossible. But duty does not shift. Duty does not change when you are tired or restless. Duty stands firm. It is the anchor that pulls you into action when emotions would keep you weak. The Stoics did not chase what was pleasant. They chased what was right. Seneca taught that it is not what is easy but what is necessary that makes a man strong. Duty transforms the smallest action into discipline. To care for your family. To serve your community. To honor your word. To live with reason. Each act of duty builds willpower because it is rooted not in fleeting feeling but in eternal principle. So how do you turn duty into discipline? Begin by defining your duty. Ask yourself, what am I here for? To rise and serve as a human being. To contribute, not waste. To build, not decay. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a horse does not complain of running. A vine does not complain of bearing grapes. They exist for their purpose and they fulfill it. You also were born for purpose. Define it and hold it before you each day. Second, link duty to action. Each time you feel the pull of laziness, remind yourself of duty. If you are tempted to delay your work, say to yourself, my duty is to act. If you are tempted to avoid training, remind yourself, my duty is to strengthen body and mind. Duty makes action non-negotiable. It cuts off the endless debate with feelings and replaces it with certainty. Third, make small duties sacred. You may think of duty as something vast and heavy. But Stoicism teaches that even the smallest duty matters. Washing your cup. Writing your journal. Speaking honestly. These are not minor things. They are opportunities to practice discipline. When you honor small duties, you strengthen the will for greater ones. A man who cannot be trusted with little cannot be trusted with much. Fourth, remove pride from duty. Do not wait for applause or recognition. Discipline built on praise is fragile. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to do good without looking back. The sun does not demand thanks for shining. The vine does not ask for gratitude when it bears fruit. They act according to their nature. So should you. Let duty itself be the reward. In this way, discipline becomes unshakable. Picture two men. The first lives by feeling. He works only when inspired. He trains only when motivated. He rises only when he feels like it. His life drifts because his anchor is weak. The second lives by duty. He works even when tired. He trains even when uninspired. He rises when the bed pulls at him. His life moves forward because his anchor holds firm. Which man will endure storms? Which man will build unbreakable willpower? The Stoics were men of empire, war, and exile. They could not afford the weakness of laziness. Duty was their weapon. Marcus Aurelius bore the burden of Rome. Epictetus endured chains and exile. Seneca faced betrayal and death. Each one remained steady because they placed duty above comfort. Their discipline was not born of convenience but of necessity. You can practice the same. Write down your duties. Keep them near. Each morning remind yourself, I rise to fulfill duty, not to serve feelings. Each evening ask yourself, did I honor my duties today? If not, sharpen your resolve for tomorrow. This practice transforms life into training. Every action becomes a chance to kill laziness. Every duty fulfilled becomes a brick in the fortress of willpower. Duty does not mean slavery. It means freedom. For when you act from duty, you are no longer chained to feelings. You are free from the tyranny of moods and desires. You are guided by principle and reason. This is the essence of Stoic discipline. Reflect on this truth. Life is short. Time cannot be wasted in excuses. Duty is the compass that keeps you steady. When you turn duty into discipline, you become the master of your life. Rule number 5. Control your inner dialogue. Epictetus once said, men are disturbed not by things but by the views which they take of them. This is one of the deepest Stoic truths. It is not the event itself that destroys your discipline. It is the story you tell yourself about the event. Laziness begins not in the body but in the mind. It begins with whispers of delay, excuses, and complaints. If you can master the voice inside you, then laziness has no foothold. Think of how the mind speaks when you feel resistance. I will do it later. This is too hard. I deserve a break. These words feel small, but they carry weight. Each time you believe them, you step further into weakness. Each time you challenge them, you step closer to strength. The Stoics trained themselves to speak to their own minds as if they were guiding a student. Calm, clear, and firm. Imagine you are walking through a storm. The outer storm is noise and distraction. But the inner storm is the louder one. It says, give up and stop trying, this is not worth it. Most men are defeated by that voice before they even step onto the battlefield. But discipline grows when you change the script. Instead of listening passively, you respond. You say, I will not hand over my strength. I will act now. I control my response. How can you practice this rule? First, catch the first thought. When laziness rises, it usually arrives with a sentence. I am too tired. I do not want to do this. The moment you hear it, pause. See it for what it is. A judgment, not a fact. Then cut it off before it grows. Replace it with a command. Rise now. Begin now. Act. The Stoics believed the mind is like a theater. If you let lazy scripts run freely, they dominate the stage. But you can rewrite the script with reason. Second, replace the excuse with truth. If your mind says, I cannot bear this task, respond with a Stoic line. It is not the task that is heavy, it is my judgment that makes it so. If your mind says, I will start tomorrow, respond with, tomorrow is not mine. Today is all I have. By speaking this way, you retrain your inner voice. Third, guide yourself as a friend, not an enemy. Many men speak to themselves with cruelty. They call themselves failures and cowards. But harshness breeds despair, not strength. Imagine how a wise mentor would speak to you. Firm but encouraging. Clear but steady. Talk to yourself in that tone. Ask, does this thought help me or harm me? If it harms, let it go. If it helps, keep it. The Stoics also practiced journaling to discipline their thoughts. Marcus Aurelius did not write his meditations to impress anyone. He wrote them to remind himself of the truth. Each night reflects. Where did my inner dialogue betray me today? Did I allow excuses to grow? Did I allow self-pity to whisper? Write it down. Then write the stronger line you should have spoken. This rewrites the script for tomorrow. Picture two men. Both face the same task. The first listens to his inner voice saying, I am tired. I cannot do this now. He accepts the words as truth. He delays. Laziness owns him. The second hears the same whisper. But he challenges it. He says, no, this is only a thought, not a fact. I will act anyway. He rises and acts. The task is done. His discipline grows. The difference is not in strength of body but in mastery of dialogue. Words have power. The words you speak to yourself are the most powerful of all. They can chain you in laziness or they can free you into discipline. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Imagination speaks through the voice in your head. If you allow it to run wild, it will enslave you. But if you control it, you will remain untouchable. This practice is not easy. You will hear the voice of laziness often. But each time you resist, you weaken its hold. Each time you replace it with truth, you strengthen your will. Over time, the voice itself changes. It begins to sound less like an enemy and more like an ally. The excuses grow quiet. The commands grow louder. Until eventually your inner dialogue becomes your strongest weapon. End each day with reflection. Ask where my words betray me. Then replace them with stronger ones. Begin each morning with a line of discipline. A reminder that your thoughts are in your control. This cycle of reflection and replacement builds an iron inner dialogue. Remember this. The mind is the forge of discipline. If you let weak words shape it, you will live weakly. If you let strong words shape it, you will live with strength. Control your inner dialogue and laziness has no place to rest. Rule number 6. Drop it quickly. Seneca once said, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. The same truth applies to laziness. It is not only the moment of weakness that harms you but the way you hold on to it afterward. Most people do not simply feel lazy for a moment. They carry it. They replay the delay. They dwell on the missed task. They feed the habit until it becomes a heavy chain. The Stoics taught a sharper way. Drop it quickly. Laziness is like carrying a burning coal. The longer you hold it, the deeper it burns. The moment you recognize it, you must let it go. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. If you delay, you give laziness a second life. The event happened once, but your mind suffers it 1,000 times. The man who drops it quickly frees himself. The man who clings to it poisons his own spirit. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. If laziness tempted him, he refused to become its slave a second time by dwelling on it. He moved on. He acted. He reclaimed his dignity. You can practice the same. When you fail, do not rehearse the failure. Simply say it happened. It is over. I move forward. In that instant you turn weakness into strength. So how do you live this principle? First, name the weight. Admit to yourself, I am carrying laziness. Honesty cuts through denial. Once you see it clearly, you can choose to drop it. Second, refuse the second wound. The first wound is the moment you gave in. The second wound is the way you keep reliving it. Ask yourself, why should I keep suffering for something already past? Drop it before it multiplies. Third, shift focus to action. If there is something you can fix, do it now. If not, accept it and turn your energy toward the next step. Discipline grows in movement, not in rumination. The Stoics also practiced mental release. Visualize laziness as a stone in your hand. See yourself opening your palm and letting it fall. Or see it as smoke rising and disappearing into the air. These simple practices remind the mind that release is possible. Imagine two men. The first misses a task. He spends the next day dwelling on it. He tells himself, I am weak, I am hopeless. Laziness grows stronger in his replay. The second also misses a task. But he says to himself, it is finished and I will not waste more energy here. He moves on and completes the next duty. One man lives in chains. The other lives free. This principle is not about ignoring responsibility. If you fail, you must correct it. But once corrected, you must release it. Discipline does not thrive in endless self-punishment. It thrives in swift recovery. Seneca warned that anger poisons the man who carries it. The same poison lives in regret when it is held too long. Freedom begins the moment you drop it. You can practice this daily. At the end of each evening, reflect on where laziness caught you. Name it. Accept it. Then release it. Do not carry it into tomorrow. Begin again clean. Each morning is a new battlefield. Do not arrive already wounded by yesterday. This is also how you must handle distraction. When you notice yourself drifting into delay, do not spiral into shame. Simply say, I see it and I drop it. Then return at once to your task. Each time you return more quickly, you weaken laziness. Each time you dwell, you strengthen it. Life is too short to live chained to old failures. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If this were your last day, would you spend it replaying laziness, or would you release it and act? The man who clings to comfort and excuses wastes his days. The man who drops them quickly and returns to discipline builds strength beyond measure. Remember this. Laziness is not only an act. It is a shadow that tries to follow you. But you decide how long it stays. Release it before it darkens your life. Rule number 7. Turn problems into teachers. Marcus Aurelius wrote, what stands in the way becomes the way. This simple line holds the power to transform how you see every difficulty in life. Most men treat problems as enemies. They curse them, resist them, and wish they would vanish. The Stoics treated problems differently. They saw them as teachers. Each frustration was a lesson. Each obstacle was training. Each setback was a chance to grow stronger. Laziness often rises when problems appear. The work is too hard, so you delay it. The task seems confusing, so you avoid it. The plan breaks, so you give up. But the Stoics knew that problems are not signs to stop. They are signals to learn. When you see every problem as a teacher, laziness loses its power. Instead of retreating, you lean in. Instead of quitting, you grow. Think of how a body grows strong. Muscles do not form in ease but in resistance. You lift weight and the struggle tears fibers. In recovery, they grow back stronger. The mind works the same way. When challenged, it learns. When tested, it sharpens. When opposed, it strengthens. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without problems, there is no progress. So how do you turn problems into teachers? First, change the question you ask. When something blocks you, do not say, "Why me?" Instead, ask what this can teach me. Patience, endurance, creativity, detachment. Each obstacle trains a skill you cannot learn in ease. Second, flip the value of setbacks. Instead of saying "this ruins everything," say "this is part of my training." Treat problems like weights in the gym of life. The heavier the weight, the greater the growth. Third, honor the lesson, not the hurt. When insulted, do not dwell on the sting. Ask what lesson lies here. Perhaps resilience. Perhaps clarity. When delayed, do not curse the time lost. Ask what skill I can build in waiting. Perhaps patience. Perhaps calm. This shift in vision turns pain into progress. Imagine two men. Both lose an opportunity. The first drowns in bitterness. He says life is unfair. He wastes his energy in complaint. Laziness creeps in and he does nothing. The second feels the same loss, but he asks, "What is this teaching me?" He sees that life cannot be controlled. He learns acceptance. He moves forward prepared for something greater. One man wastes his suffering. The other turns it into strength. The Stoics lived this way daily. Marcus faced betrayal, war, and plague, yet he wrote to himself that the obstacle on the path becomes the path. Seneca endured exile, yet used it as a time for deep reflection and writing. Epictetus was born a slave, yet turned chains into lessons of freedom within. None of them waited for a smooth life. They treated rough ground as their school. You can do the same. Begin small. When frustrated, ask yourself immediately, "What this is teaching me?" Write it down if needed. Keep a journal of lessons. Over time, you will see that no day is wasted. Every trial leaves behind strength. This practice does not mean you enjoy problems. Pain still hurts. The delay is still frustrating. But you stop being broken by them. Instead of enemies, you see instructors. Problems shape you. They remind you that life owes you no comfort, but it always offers growth. At first, this shift will feel unnatural. The instinct is to resist and complain. But with practice, you will notice a change. Instead of feeling crushed, you feel prepared. Instead of anger, you feel curiosity. You begin to welcome difficulty, not because it is pleasant but because it is useful. Reflect on this. If you never faced disrespect, how would you learn patience? If you never faced opposition, how would you grow resilience? If you never faced disappointment, how would you learn acceptance? Every problem gives you a chance to kill laziness and forge willpower. For laziness, saying "stop, this is too hard." But the Stoic truth says continue, this is your training. Remember this. Life will never be free of problems. People will fail you. Plans will collapse. Circumstances will shift. You cannot stop that. But you can decide to see each one as a teacher. And when you do, you cannot lose. Either you succeed or you learn. Both outcomes make you stronger. Rule number 8. Stay in the present moment. Seneca once said we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Laziness often hides in the imagination. It whispers about yesterday's failures and tomorrow's difficulties. It fills the mind with stories of what already passed or what has not yet arrived. And while the mind drifts, the present moment is wasted. The Stoics knew that discipline and strength live only in the now. The man who anchors himself in the present is unshakable. Think of how laziness grows. You delay a task because you imagine how hard it will be. You avoid action because you replay past mistakes. You freeze because you imagine all the things that could go wrong. None of these are happening now. They are shadows of memory and anticipation. By living in them, you abandon the only place where power exists. The present moment. Marcus Aurelius commanded himself to confine himself to the present. He knew the weight of regret and the burden of fear. But he reminded himself that the present is light. It asks only for the next step, not the whole journey. It asks only for one action, not the whole battle. When you return to the now, laziness loses its excuses. The work becomes bearable because it is only this moment that you must master. So how can you stay in the present? First, catch your wandering mind. When you notice it replaying what happened yesterday, stop and remind yourself that the past cannot be changed. When you notice it, imagining what might happen tomorrow, stop and remind yourself that the future is not here. Bring attention back to this breath, this step, this task. Second, use your senses to anchor yourself. Look around. Feel the ground under your feet. Hear the sounds in the room. Notice your breath as it moves in and out. These are real. These are present. Anchoring yourself in sensation cuts off the storm of imagination. Third, ask a simple question. What can I do now? Not later, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Only now. That one question burns away excuses. Imagine two men. The first sits in regret. He thinks endlessly about the opportunities he wasted. He imagines the failures ahead. Hours pass, yet nothing is done. Laziness holds him in chains. The second feels the same memories and fears rise, but he pulls himself back. He says, I cannot change yesterday. I cannot control tomorrow. But I can act now. He begins. He moves forward. His life changes one present action at a time. The Stoics understood that life is short. They saw time slipping away each day. Marcus wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He knew that wasting the present moment is the greatest loss. For the present is all you truly own. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, but the now is yours. This practice kills laziness because it cuts through delay. Laziness thrives in thinking, I will do it later. Discipline thrives in saying, I will do it now. Each time you act in the present, you grow stronger. Each time you drift into the past or future, you grow weaker. You can train this daily. Set aside moments to practice presence. Spend a few minutes in silence noticing your breath. Spend a few minutes journaling about what is in front of you today. When working, focus only on the task, not on the outcome. When eating, focus only on the food, not on what comes after. Each act of presence sharpens discipline. Do not mistake this for ignoring the future. Planning has its place. Reflection has its place. But when the time for action comes, the only place to stand is the present. The Stoics planned carefully and reflected deeply, yet when they acted here and now without delay. Reflect on this truth. Laziness is often the fear of an imagined burden. But when you stay in the present, the burden shrinks. The great mountain becomes only the next step. And the next step is always within your power. Remember this. The present moment is the forge of willpower. Stay here and act here. Leave the past behind. Leave the future to unfold. The man who masters the present masters his life. Rule number 9. Anchor yourself in action, not excuses. Epictetus taught that you may not control what happens outside you, but you always control what you do next. Laziness lives in excuses. Excuses delay. Excuses justify. Excuses tell you why you cannot act. Action is the antidote. When you anchor yourself in action, you cut off the endless flow of excuses. You silence the debate in your head. You move forward. Excuses come in many forms. I am too tired. I do not know where to begin. It will not matter anyway. Each one sounds reasonable at the moment, but each one is a thief. They steal your time, your progress, and your strength. Action exposes them. The moment you begin, the excuse loses power. The weight you dreaded feels lighter once lifted. The task you feared feels simpler once started. The problem you delayed begins to fade once faced. The Stoics lived by this truth. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that delay is the enemy. Do not waste what cannot be recovered. Do not hand over your life to hesitation. Seneca wrote that it is not that life is short, but that we waste much of it. Every wasted moment is life slipping away. Excuses waste life. Action saves it. So how do you anchor yourself in action? First, stop the debate. When the mind begins to argue whether you should or should not act, cut it short. Do not ask if I feel ready. Ask only, what must I do now? Then do it. Second, make the first step small. Begin with one line, one rep, one call. Once moving, momentum grows. Third, reward action with pride, not comfort. Let the satisfaction of doing what is necessary replace the temporary pleasure of delay. Imagine two men. The first fills his day with excuses. He says, tomorrow I will begin. He says, I am too tired. He says, this is not the right time. At the end of the day, nothing is done. His willpower weakens. His life shrinks. The second feels the same excuses rise, but he acts anyway. He writes the first page. He lifts the first weight. He makes the first move. Action builds momentum. Momentum builds strength. At the end of the day, he is stronger. The Stoics did not wait for inspiration. They acted because duty called. A soldier does not wait for perfect weather to fight. A farmer does not wait for perfect skies to plant. They act because life demands it. You must treat your tasks the same way. Do not wait for perfect mood or timing. Begin. Action itself creates readiness. This rule is the culmination of all the others. Mornings mastered. Resistance expected. Comfort killed. Duty embraced. Dialogue disciplined. Laziness dropped quickly. Problems turned into teachers. Presence guarded. All of them lead here. To the moment of action. For without action, philosophy is only words. Without action, wisdom is wasted. Anchor yourself in action and you become untouchable. Excuses will still come, but they will no longer control you. You will see them as noise. You will act before they can grow. This is how discipline is forged. This is how laziness is killed forever. Pause for a moment and reflect on your journey. You began with the battle of mornings. You learned to expect resistance. You crushed the comfort trap. You turned duty into discipline. You mastered your inner dialogue. You learned to drop laziness quickly. You treated problems as teachers. You anchored yourself in the present. Now you stand here with the final rule. Action. The weapon that binds them all. Remember this. Life is not measured by what you intended to do. It is measured by what you did. Dreams are nothing without action. Strength is nothing without action. Wisdom is nothing without action. Anchor yourself here and no storm can move you. Now the choice is before you. You can let this teaching fade into another forgotten lesson, or you can act. Do one thing today with full discipline. Rise early. Write the page. Lift the weight. Make the call. Begin. Prove to yourself that you are a man of action, not excuses. This is your moment. Anchor yourself in action. Kill laziness. Forge iron willpower. Become the master of your life. You have walked through 9 Stoic rules to kill laziness and forge iron willpower. These are not theories. They are tools. Weapons forged by men who faced storms greater than ours. They carried empires. They endured chains. They walked into death without trembling. And they left us this wisdom so that we too might rise above weakness. Remember, life is short. Time is precious. Each moment lost to laziness is gone forever. But each moment won with discipline becomes a step toward greatness. Do not let this video end and leave your life unchanged. Take one rule. Apply it today. Let action carve it into your character. Slowly the old habits will fade. Laziness will wither. Willpower will grow. And one day you will look in the mirror and see a man forged in discipline. If this teaching has stirred something in you, then share it. Let others rise with you. Comment below which rule struck your heart most. Subscribe if you want more Stoic wisdom each week. But above all, act. Action is your freedom. Action is your strength. Action is the path to becoming unshakable. Your journey does not end here. It begins here. Begin now.